So, some important update news. Today, we know that there's going to be an assassin tower. However, on Twitter, the developers have posted two emojis, namely the dagger emoji, or sword emoji. I think this is a dagger, because or dagger knife as it's suggested when I hover over it, but then also the bow and arrow sign. So we know that the dagger is probably related to the assassin tower. The assassin tower is said to be a melee tower, so you know, a dagger knife would be appropriate. I'll also get to that later. But also the archer tomorrow ... Now, some people have said that this is definitely the gladiator and archery work, which could be true, because the developers have teased us about the fact that the gladiator rework could be coming very soon. Tyler, not the creator, but Tyler, the developer, has said that it should be coming, or at the very least they are working on it in the background, is what he really said. However, as for the bow and arrow, that is more clear. That is definitely going to be an archer tower, at the very least a remodel, because as you can see from the Game Pass, it's changed. So previously it was a blue icon with the original archer icon there. This is basically what the archer looked like previously. You can see from the glasses, those are the glasses that it used in the game. Here you can see it's very different. Now, assuming that this is definitely the default skin, and most of the times it is, the only exception where I couldn't think that the Game Pass used their default skin was the Executioner Tower Game Pass, and assuming that this is the default skin, this does confirm that the Archer is going to get a remodel, because the Archer itself, it did actually get a slight rework or slight rebalance in, I believe, the end of 2024. No, really, the start of 2025 actually, v1.49.0 on the 15th of January 2025. Basically, here it got some changes, including the arrow type change, where you could swap between the different arrows that you could have. That was a previous leak from 2020, the overall update, but Below Natural didn't implement it then, and even if he did implement it then, that would have been a shit feature back then, because he would have implemented it with skins. So for example, the Halloween skin, for example, it would have added burn, a Valentine skin would have added, I don't know, shock maybe, and then a winter skin would have added freeze. Now, that's being a skin perk, so having a skin automatically means that the archer is better, is a slight issue. So the implementation that he did in 2025 is a lot better, given the fact that it's for every skin no matter what it is. So even for the default skin it has this, which I agree with. However, the one criticism that the developers got for this update was for the fact that the archer itself didn't get a remodel, and considering that the archer is one of those towers which hasn't had a remodel since 2020, I believe, and the only thing that has changed in that time period is the face of the archer, I kind of agree, because if you look at all the towers in Tower Defense Simulator, the only towers that really need a change nowadays is probably like the paintballer, the pyromancer, the medic, maybe the electroshocker, but I think the electroshocker is fine for the most part. And really, those are the only 4 evergreen towers that need like an update. Whereas if you go to the exclusive side of things, yeah, you got a lot more towers that require a rework. Not really that much, but you got the Gladiator, for example, that needs an update. The Archer, that's going to get an update, it seems. The Toxic Gunner, we don't know when that's going to get an update, I'll be real. The Executioner, it's okay, but, you know, it's still bold. You know, boldness is a sign of age. So if a tower is bold, the more likely it is that it needs a rework. I mean, that doesn't apply all the time. For example, the minigunner is bold, but yeah, it's got a remodel quite recently, so that's fair enough. You know, something like the Executioner, it's like the oldest tower in Tower Defense Simulator that's been added, that is still bold, so I assume that will get changed in the future. But the Archer, definitely, it was an old model from 2020, and I was very surprised that when it did get reworked, or it got added the arrow types, I was surprised that it didn't get a remodel. Maybe the developers weren't ready with it, but they are now. So you're going from the brown archer skin to something that looks like a red archer skin. This might be based upon another game, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if it's like Team Fortress 2 or whatever, but it has a cowboy hat, interestingly. Now, I don't know if this is the level 0 skin. It's not likely to be the level 0 skin. In other Game Passes, they have gotten the max level skin on the Game Pass. So actually, it's quite likely that this is going to be the max level archer skin. But it looks very interesting. It does look like it has like some sort of automatic bow, which is very cool, but at the very least there's going to be a remodel. The reason why I don't say there's going to be a rework is because obviously there's been a rework in 2025 already. I don't know if the Archer is going to completely change because of that. I mean, why would it need to change if the Archer has already been reworked. I would assume that it's going to be just a remodel, which is probably the first time when it's just been a remodel. Then again, though, there could be some minor changes to the Arch Tower, or it just could be a complete rework. Who knows? I think it's just going to be a remodel, but we'll see. Now, for the dagger, I already said this, but I don't think it is the Gladiator. I think this is the Assassin Tower, and the reason why is because if you go to the PvP icon, I did miss this out completely, you can see with the supposed Assassin Tower, you can see some sort of blade here that looks like a dagger. It's small, it's not really that long, it can't be a sword, whereas the Gladiator does have a sword. Again, the Gladiator is penciled in for a remodel slash rework in the near future, but it's not right now, and that's what Tyler said, so I'm going to have to assume that it's going to be at least within the next 4 months. By 4 months, I mean it's not going to be within the next 4 months, it's going to be the 4 months or later. But yes, very clearly here you can see the Assassin Tower while having a dagger of some kind on its hilt or around its waist. The thing is, other towers have had stuff around their waist for like decoration. One thing that springs to mind is like one of those old cowboy skins, I think, or like an old skin, like I don't actually remember, a tower that was a ranged tower but that had a sword on its hip. Now Again, I can't really remember what tower it is, but that tower never actually used that sword for anything. I'm having memory loss here, though. Now, in balancing feedback, one of the head testers said, going forward, we intend to regularly update the balancing in PvP mode to adjust overpriced towers, or overpowered towers, sorry, and problems in game modes, such as basic arena being too easy to defend rushes in. Given the changelog tends to be very basic, would you guys prefer to see a Google Doc of changelogs, as well as an explanation behind each change, so you guys are a bit more informed of the thought process that goes behind them? Hopefully this will bridge the gap between the community and QA, so you guys better understand why certain changes are made. I'm only polling this, as if people don't really care to read them, then there isn't a reason for me to bother working on them. I mean, I prefer a update log of what the QA testers think about the changes, because some of the changes, I don't know if they're either developer made or QA made. The only problem is, everyone who plays the game won't necessarily know of this Google form update log. Now, certainly I would cover it. I would cover all the changes that are made in the Google Doc, certainly. But I don't think many people would look at it, nor really care about it, but I would totally see it. Now, as for my recent video about watching an ad for 50 seconds, it turns out the advertisements aren't actually as long as I thought they would be. I thought they would be 30 seconds because that's the standard length of an advertisement on YouTube, but also the standard length of a video on Roblox. However, that's not the case. They are mobile ads that can be as short as like 5 seconds, or even instantly you can skip it, whereas sometimes they can be as long as 15 seconds, as you can see here. Enjoy up to 25% more Robux with Roblox gift cards. They're 4 seconds into it, but it looks like they're nearly halfway, so that's about 7 seconds. So certainly this advertisement is 15 seconds. So the feature of watching an ad for 50 coins is in the game, and actually, it seems like the advertisements aren't even that brutal. They aren't 30 seconds long. You can skip it within 15 seconds at the very least, or you can even just skip it instantaneously. So I think it's a very good way of playing the game, certainly if you're on mobile, and like maybe it was incentivize some mobile players to come back to Tower Defense Simulator if they know of this feature. Watching an ad for 50 coins for like even a 5-second period, that's quite a good coin return rate, you know, 10 coins per second. That's quite good. But obviously you have to actually get this ad, and apparently it is still random. I certainly don't see it because I'm on PC and I've never seen it after I win, and this is me after win trading 120 times, not really 120 times, but about 100 or 90 times, and I didn't see this advertisement once because I'm on PC. It's only a mobile thing. And one final thing, because someone tagged me about this, so apparently Below Natural commented on someone making having an art piece about a director skin for the commander. You can see here the commander skin. It has a clapper board for level 0 to 2, level 3 plus, and then a megaphone for level 4. Director commander, TDS skin submission by Miracle 3 KKL. Now, in the past, I have gone over some skin submissions, the most famous of one being the Ducky, I think, Elf Camp, which I still want to see in the game. But this skin also looks pretty good. It's a unique take on a skin that isn't in Tower Defense Simulator. That's quite cool. And Below Natural apparently did comment on this on the 17th of July 2025, saying, "Dang, these look insane." Now, Below Natural commenting on something doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be Intel Defense Simulator. However, we've seen in the past that Blow Natural is implementing some community skins in Intel Defense Simulator. I can see on Twitter, for example, that there are some certain skins made by some random people that Blow Natural has commented on that has actually reached the game. So we'll have to see if the Director Commander skin is one of those skins that Blow Natural comments on and actually implements in Intel Defense Simulator. I would like to see it, but we'll have to see on that.